The Wednesday week is sponsored by the Riverside Cafe, new outside bar now open on match days.
Chance here, a great save by Turner from McClare. Might come a terrific goal by Sheridan.
Preston against Jones. Get in.
You could have two goalkeepers in there that would have trouble saving.
Hello and welcome to the Wednesday week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm James and I am one of your two grumpy old owls that you've got for company tonight. It's just the two of us, Rich.
Just me and you. Just the two of us.
It's a cosy, friendly,
intimate affair.
Yeah. Right, let's kick things off and let's talk about Preston. We've actually got quite a bit to talk about this week after several quite boring weeks in Wednesday world. There's been tons happening this week, and it feels like way back when now. But we had a football match at the weekend. We played Preston. I kind of expected this to be one of those kind of slightly dull games where we just grind out 3 points. And, I mean, it couldn't have been much further from that, could it? Because it was a game that was kind of packed with incident, including stuff that I've never seen before at a football match.
How bizarre was it? It just... I've not seen it. I was looking, just to go straight to that point, the bizarre bit. I was looking for which Wednesday players... there's some fighting. Which Wednesday players involved? I'm like, there isn't a Wednesday player involved. What's going on? And I quite quickly realised that they were having a scrap between themselves.
I mean, it has happened before, hasn't it? There was a couple of, was it Blackburn players that
yes,
did it?
Yeah.
David Batty and someone else.
David Batty, Graham Lassalle, was it?
Something like that, yeah. And they both got sent off as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
But I've never seen it in person, and I'm not even sure now whether it's fully sunk in exactly what the hell happened there, because it was just a pass, wasn't it? He just picked the wrong pass. Players do that every game.
Well, I think Beckford could probably have an argument with himself in a brown paper bag, couldn't he, I think? So that probably, aided it a little bit. But no, it was just completely like, we were down to 9 men. Obviously, Buckley's gone off and, we were, we're looking like we're going to struggle here. They get a goal back and then it's all back on again. And are they going to get an equaliser? And then they just imploded. And it just it worked for us, to be fair.
I mean, it really did. Someone was looking down on us, weren't they? Because, it kind of felt like one of those games where, although we were winning, everything that could go wrong went wrong. I mean, the good stuff to start with, obviously we went 1-up in the first half. It was the scrappy goal that I thought we were likely to get if we were going to get one, even though, we played some all right football up till then. But, it was a miss-hit shot from Adam Reach. I'm sure he'll claim that he was playing it back across goal.
It was a pass. It was a pass.
Yeah. It's a skill playing it off the turf onto someone's head, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wish I could. Do that. Yeah.
And then
kicking a ball is enough for me. But,
I'd be quite happy to head a ball. Just someone let me near a ball. That'd be great. And it wasn't the cleanest of headers either from Fessy, was it? I mean, are we going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that that was a deliberate header, into the corner of the net?
He placed it beyond the keeper. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll have that all day long.
But they all count, and that gave us the lead that we needed in the first half, and then the second half was kind of end to end. It was a fairly bitty start to the second half, and then the sending off, and I should be able to offer some insight into this because it was pretty much right in front of where I sit on the north stand.
Were you having a beer?
I'd had a couple of beers, but even so, you know what? I mean, I had no idea that anything had even happened, and even after, it was a good kind of 10 seconds after the ball had gone before anyone kind of realised, hang on, he's bringing play back here. What's going on? But you just kind of know, don't you? When that happens and the referee brings it back and he goes and talks to the linesman, we kind of said, right, this is it. He's gone.
Well, I mean, Pearson didn't help. He really did wind me up. To be fair, just running across to the lines when like somebody telling them, "Mum, he's nicked me bloody dinner money" or something like that. It really did piss me off. But he raised his hand, put it in his face. No arguments. You can't do it. It happened. I'm trying to think. It happened with somebody else over the weekend as well, in one of the FA Cup games, one of the lower league games. I can't remember, it was Sutton United or somebody like that. Anyway, and he did exactly the same. As soon as he put his hand up to push him away, that's it. You go, and it's the letter of the law.
Was it unlucky on Fessy, or is it a case that he should really know better?
He should know better. Put his hand in his face. As soon as you do it, as soon as you raise your hands, just keep your hands by your sides. That's it. It's like, you know, I suppose it's like, you know, going through a tackle straight through the back of somebody. You know, you're likely, if you don't get the ball, you're going to get sent off.
And obviously, it looked like it was going to change the game, because Preston, I think, had come back into it a bit, hadn't they? And they were, showing that they'd certainly got something about themselves. And you kind of look when they bring on players like Owen Doyle, who, all right, he's not set the Championship on fire, but he scored some goals in League One, didn't he, for Chesterfield? Yeah. And you get that sort of feeling of dread about, hang on, is this going to end up not being our day? And then lo and behold, we knock the ball at the other end of the pitch, and get what I think was a pretty blatant penalty. And I was quite surprised the keeper wasn't punished for that. It was kind of poleaxed him, didn't it? It was like a wrestling move.
I think he was going away from goal, so it was a yellow card all day long, but he didn't even give a yellow. So there's kind of no... we get back to consistency again of referees. It was a yellow card. Simple as that. And he didn't even... he nearly took his head off, I think. I think he did his shoulder, didn't he, when he cut his shoulder, I think, judging by how he was running afterwards. So that was really surprising. The ref didn't, he pulled out a red card earlier and he thought another one was coming, but not so late. Did he make up for it?
Yeah, true. Stephen Fletcher, he steps up, and it was cool as a cucumber, wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't think he'd ever miss that one. That was he's one of those guys you kind of think, he's a pretty steady Eddie, I think, when it comes to that kind of situation. He's been there, done it, a bit longer in the tooth than maybe some of the younger lads, but yeah, no pressure.
So then, emotion changes again. I don't know if you were like me. I'm thinking, well, that's it now. We've got this wrapped up. We're not going to throw away a 2-goal lead with this amount of time left. And barely had I got my breath back. It's 2-1 and it's game on. Yeah,
and that's when it's like Lord H's squeaky bum cream comes out. Yeah. We start passing that around the north stand after he sold us a few boxes of it in the past. And it was all like, kind of, here we go, 2-1. We can see, and the second goal from them was coming until they shot wide.
Absolutely was. I think Simon Grayson, he's one of those managers that you either kind of love him or you hate him. But I think in his post-match interview, where he kind of said, look, the equaliser was on the cards, and if we'd have got the equaliser, they'd have fancied themselves to go on and maybe snatch a win against 10 men, effectively 9 men.
9 men, yeah.
And then it all changes again, and we've talked about it a bit. Do you think that we're obviously biased because we're Wednesday fans, and it won the game for us in the end? But was that slightly overzealous referee? Did he need to send those players off?
I've not really. I've seen the incident back, but did they raise hands? Did he send them off for just having a scuffle with each other? Did they raise hands? I didn't think they raised hands. It more was a pushing in the chest kind of thing.
It was a handbags incident, was it? Yeah,
absolutely handbags. Yeah. So maybe it's the time that we had. We've not had much luck, I don't think, for a bit, and maybe it was just our turn to have a little bit of luck and make sure we got the 3 points. And what do we say about Simon Grayson? He's a Leeds fan, isn't he? He's from Ripon, so that's near enough to Leeds for me. Near closer to Eddie, to be fair, but still makes him Leeds to me.
I was talking to my dad about it earlier on, and we kind of said, fair enough, the Fessy red card, you're going to get a fair few referees that are going to do that. There aren't going to be many refs that are going to let that go. But I can imagine another referee would pull those 2 players up, just give them a bit of a talking to, tell them to pull themselves together and get on with the game rather than send them both off. It seemed like, quite an extreme, but, we'll take it all day long, won't we?
Yeah, exactly. Unless there was something said on there that, that none of us are privy to. There was, something worse. I don't know. But if you notice, after he sent Doyle off, he actually stopped.
Yeah, he waited, didn't he?
He waited and then gave him a red card. So I'd love to be in a fly on the wall in that changing room with those two in there.
I know. And then even after he showed him the red card, he carried on talking to him, didn't he? Because he leant in to listen to what the referee was saying. I'd love to know what that was. Was he saying, "Please don't start a fight as you go off. just go and have your orange juice." Yeah, it's nearly full time.
I reckon they would have needed somebody else to head down the tunnel with those two guys after scrapping on the pitch. Somebody else to hold the handbags.
In the aftermath of the game, I mean, something that doesn't affect us as such, but it's been very widely talked about among Wednesday fans, was Preston fining the two players that were sent off and then using those fines to refund the fans that had made the trip, which is a hell of a gesture, and again something that you don't see happening in football very often, and quite a really good thing for a club to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can't knock them for that. It's the right thing to do, in that respect, because the players did let them down, and the players let I think the whole of Preston, the Simon Grayson, the manager, and the fans a lot. So it seems the right thing that they're using their fine to pay for the trip. Yeah, absolutely, all day long.
Now there was some good performances among the Wednesday contingent, weren't there? I think that. As I always do every week, I'm going to say that Sammy had a great game. I thought Tom Lees looked good, but as well, I thought it was a game where Adam Reach really kind of showed us what he can do. He had a stormer. I think
he's playing really, really well, but without. So I saw somebody question it this week on Twitter. I think they called him fucking wank, I think was the term, and I was like, are you really watching the same person that I am? I don't think he's quite living up to a £5 million price tag at the minute, but I think he's looking like a good player. Who, a bit of time, bit of patience with him. We'll and he's playing at left back at the minute as well, and he's not a left back, so you've got to give him a little bit, cut him a bit of slack. But I know I think he's an integral part, and I think as the season goes on, he'll get better and better. And when we come round to Wembley again in May, he might be one of the key players.
I'm a fan of Adam Reach. I think he's got something about him. I think that there's I've seen enough to kind of think, I can understand why this guy is highly rated, and I think it's fair that he's maybe not set things on fire quite yet, and he's had a couple of quiet games, and I think he's had a couple of good games. My worry with Adam Reach is because he's got that price tag, and I don't know if it bothers him or whether the other players think about this, but as fans, people say, well, he cost best part of £7 million. He should be doing this and he should be doing that, and he should be waltzing past defenders, and he's this, that, and the other. Is there a risk that he just ends up becoming kind of like the player that fans love to give stick to?
There is, you're right. There is an expectation because we paid record transfer fee for him, and the last time we paid that kind of money was Paolo Di Canio, and quite clearly, times are changing. Di Canio would be a lot more money, at this time. So it's probably an unfair comparison in the two kind of fees. But because he paid £5 million for him, then people are going to question it. I think I understand that to a certain extent, but I think we've got to forget all that stuff and just take him on board as just another player on the pitch, however much it costs, whether they've come on a free or whether we paid $2 million or $5 million or $10 million for him. Just take him. When we spend $10 million in January on Jordan Rhodes, nobody bother when he's banging him away. So,
and we all know that's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it says it on what's that transfer account on Twitter? Yeah, it says it on there, so it's definitely going to happen. Yeah,
that transfers whatever it is. Yeah, it's happening. Believe. So that was Preston. It was 3 points. It was a funny old game, and anyone that says you don't get value for money in the Championship is an idiot. After watching that game, it was fantastic. We did have another game this week, didn't we? Because we had a behind closed doors friendly against Notts County. And I kind of like, I sit at work, and every so often I check Twitter and check the SWC hashtag, and I saw that there were people kind of live tweeting from a game, and I just assumed that it was like, an academy game, like under 19s or under 21s or whatever it is. But it turned out that it was actually like a friendly game. Now, we played, far from being a first team. In actual fact, I don't know if anyone knows exactly what team that we played, but there was a run out for Abdi. and a run out for Nuhiu. He lives. He's alive.
Yeah.
He's been seen
absolutely.
on a football pitch.
Apart from seeing him on Fargate outside the Christmas market, where he's also been seen and photographed by our lovely Victoria.
Yeah, it's a shame she's not with us to regale us with that story tonight.
Yes, she's looking for the Christmas message again from this year, I believe, as well. Just the usual Happy Christmas, Victoria.
Well, I'll tell you what,
sounded all like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
He certainly gave us a message that he is still here because he got a hat trick. Fair enough, it's against Notts County. And it's probably not even Notts County's first team. It's probably Notts County's coming back from injury and second string and whatever. But they all count, and he scored 3. Cue the obvious reaction on Twitter from some fans, and fair enough, I tweeted this as well, from people saying, well, he's found his level now against Notts County reserves. And equally people saying, well, surely, he's got to be knocking on the door of the first team now. He should be starting on Saturday. Where do you sit on this one then? Is it is he knocking on the door? Is there still a role for him to play?
You want a one-word answer? No.
Fair enough.
I won't make it a boring answer, promise. I think, are we missing him at the minute?
Well, no, I don't think we are.
We're
scoring goals and we're winning games.
I think that's the answer. We don't miss him at the minute. I think he's like Semedo. He's an integral part of the team culture down there. I think because obviously he's quite a central part of it, and him and Van Sant, sorry Eddie, get on very, very well. Their bromance that's going on. So I think like Semedo, he's a big part of that. But how long do you carry on paying somebody, I don't know, whatever, $10,000 a week or whatever, just so he can make the rest of the players feel great?
I still think that one role that he might have to play is that there are going to be games this season where, with 20 minutes to go, you think, that's harsh. No, where you think it needs an Atty now. It needs him, that last 20 minutes when he can come on and make a right old nuisance of himself and pull a few defenders all over the place. And there's no doubt that, that every so often the guy does something fantastic. He can take on 5 men and beat them all at a canter, can't he? He doesn't do it very often, but crikey, when he's having a good day, he can have a real good day.
He's become our JJ, hasn't he? He's become our impact player. That when he is on the bench, he just come on and has a go. All right, he doesn't get sent off and kick the shit out of water bottles, but but yeah, he's very much become that kind of player, which I think there is a need for sometimes. But at the minute we have, you look at the bench on Saturday, and you got Fletcher on there, and I'm trying to recollect who else was on there. I can't remember off the top, but there's decent players on there that can come on and make a difference.
Absolutely, and obviously Abdi getting some game time as he kind of gets back to fitness, and he got a goal as well, which is great.
Yeah,
we've got 3 games now coming up where we're going to be a player short without Fessy. I'm not sure what the situation is with Ross Wallace or with Buckley, if either of those two have knocks that are going to keep them out for a bit, but could be a chance for Abdi to kind of stake his claim and get back in that starting 11.
I remember seeing Abdi in pre-season, that game at Hillsborough. I'm trying to think who it was. Was it
Port Vale?
Port Vale, yeah. And I thought he'd set a goal up, or he even scored. He hadn't actually scored, didn't he?
I think he did.
And I thought, he looks really good. He looked really good. And I know it's only Port Vale or whatever, like you say, like it's only Notts County. And I thought, there's lots to come from this guy, and we've just not seen it yet. And that's frustrating for me because I think there is something there, but you do get players that don't fit in the club they go to. And is he going to be one of those players? He's one that just didn't work out for whatever reason. It'd be lovely if he did, because there's no doubting. He played, double figures Premier League games last year, so he's not a bad player. It's obviously just taking him a bit longer to settle in, and stuff like this can't do many harm, I don't think. But it's just getting past Kieran Lee and Sammy now.
Yeah, I mean, I remember this time last season as we started to creep towards the January transfer window, and there was a bit of a rumour that went round that Alex Lopez was going to terminate his loan early and go back to Celta Vigo in January, and everyone was sort of like, oh, well, he's not really done anything, and that didn't materialise. He stayed with us, and through a combination of suspensions and injuries, which are inevitable with Hutch, he got his run in the team, and he had a real role to play at the back end of last season.
He did,
didn't
he did. He did right at the back end of last season, yeah. So
there are players that right now in December we might think, well, they've just not had an impact, but there's plenty of time for that to happen.
Yeah, absolutely, and I really hope it does. I really, I think he's a skillful player. He's not, obviously it's not working for him for whatever reasons, but I'm sure Carlos will have him in his thoughts, and I think we'll see something out of him, and I definitely think he's a role for him, more so than Atty.
Now, before we move on to talk about kind of off-the-field stuff that's been going on around S6 this week, back to the Preston game, and specifically after the Preston game. Now, there were a few, shall we say, special guests who had made the trip to Hillsborough to see the game, and they'd come all the way from Portugal. They were special guests of our friends at the Cop End, and after the game they were in the Riverside Cafe. Now I had to go at this point because I got a meal to go to. It wasn't because I was too drunk like Vic claims. Ignore that. I had a meal to go to, so I had to leave Vic on her own to do her own drunken interview.
Right, everybody, this is Vic, drunken interview, except James has had to go home, so he was too drunk, so this is a pretty sober interview with me. And I've got some friends here from Portugal. Hello.
All right, hello. Hello.
Hi there. So can I get everyone's name?
Diego. Gonzalo. Francisco.
And which one of you has come over just for this weekend, just for the game?
I did, and Jose also did.
You also, come on.
Hello.
Hello. So what did you think today then, guys? Because it was a bit of an eventful game, so...
Yeah.
Eventful game.
It was not a fun second half, I gotta say. I've had better second halves here at Hillsborough.
Yes, definitely.
I didn't.
But it was entertaining.
Was it nice to see a little bit of like European passion in there from Forestieri punching someone in the face, or was that...
South American passion.
yeah, same thing.
The best type of passion. South American passion.
Yeah.
And what did you think to the Preston players then, having a scrap? Is that just so they both get Christmas off?
Yeah.
Could be.
They don't want to play in the Boxing Day.
Yes.
So they boxed each other.
So overall, what did you think to the performance, especially the first goal, as usual? Do you think he's back to the Forestieri again?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's back at Forestieri form, pretty much. Yeah.
And then getting sent off, so very much back Forestieri.
There we go again.
Yeah.
Back to Forestieri form. Yeah, full form.
But I don't know if you guys agree, because obviously you don't come to as many games as me, but how nice was it to see 3 red cards and not one of them being Sam Hutchinson?
Yeah, I mean, he's booked every week, right?
I think he's got the all clear.
He's booked every week!
So, and also I've got to ask you about before the game, so obviously you got to meet Carlos and you got to meet Kieran Lee. How was that?
Yeah, that was really, really special, I gotta say. Really, really good. It was really, I mean, I've been coming to watch Sheffield Wednesday for like, almost a year now. And so, I mean, obviously became a Wednesday fan at some point during that trip. So obviously it was amazing. I mean,
Carlos was very nice
there
to
at
us.
the pitch, I mean, speaking Portuguese with Carlos, I mean, it was really, really good. Really great sensation,
Did he give you any insights that he can't, because he sometimes jumbles up his English, old Carlos. He's not. Yeah. Did he say anything that?
The thing is that we can understand his English. We know where he's coming from because we can understand what the hell is happening in his head. We can relate to that.
So do you think he's the man for Sheffield Wednesday still?
100%. I think the results.
Why shouldn't he? From my side, 100%. I don't know about the other fans, but
I mean, the results speak for himself, no?
I'm just going on what everyone else is saying. One week everyone loves
Is it
him, one
everyone
week
else? I don't think so. These guys, they really like
Yeah,
him.
we're normal though. That's the problem. Like, there's people in the stands that one week,
100%.
one loss, call for his head.
I don't see a reason to contest him.
Yeah.
but in football, everything.
He's had a long term now as far as football goes, as far as the championship goes, especially. So, all right then. So are you going to make it over 20 more games this season?
20 more games?
My wife has to let me come to you on a regular basis, like every 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
She won't.
It's worth a shot for Christmas, maybe. That'd be nice.
No, I can try
Instead of Christmas, yeah, come
back.
No, we're definitely aiming to bring them back from Portugal for a game in summer.
Okay.
Let's hope semi-finals or.
Yeah, and what happens if we go to Portugal pre-season? How exciting would that be for you?
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Then we have to fly there because I mean, Gonzalo and myself we are based here, so.
But you'd love it. It'd be great.
It would be nice. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, guys.
Either that or Benfica coming here and getting their asses kicked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Happy days for you, definitely. So that's one last thing then. We've been asked about a big famous team coming over this summer. Would you like someone like Benfica again, or do you think we could possibly push for like a Real Madrid or a Barcelona to come to Hillsborough?
I think we should go with like probably a big national team. I would aim for that. I think the fans would relate more to them. I mean, I don't know how many Wednesday Barcelona matches were there in the 150 years of Wednesday's history.
Not very much.
Yeah. Not more.
Right.
Oh,
So I think
so
I mean
many.
I know I would definitely go for like maybe United or.
Yeah, something like that would be great. Yeah.
I would go for a foreign team.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we'll just be playing Manchester United next season if we go up.
Arsenal again beating them
I
again
don't think
3-0.
Man United will be relegated this season.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Right,
Thank you.
cheers.
Whether you're celebrating a birthday, a wedding or anniversary, maybe you've passed your driving test, or you've landed a new job. Well, whatever your reason for a party, the Riverside Cafe is the perfect location on Catch Bar Lane overlooking Hillsborough Stadium. To inquire about hiring us for your function, call 07989 856 054 or 0114 232 6121. So that's the on the pitch stuff covered. It's been a busy week off the pitch as well, with different bits and bobs happening, including we had a fairly lengthy statement from the chairman that he released last Sunday, which covered quite a few subjects without saying a massive amount. I think it was the kind of stuff that we've got used to from Mr. Chansiri in terms of the fact that it was very positive. It reiterated his commitment to the club and doing whatever it takes to get us back into the Premier League. But he teased these Christmas offers. I think it was the Christmas presents from him to us, which he teased, which then became clear kind of 24 hours later, which seemed to be kind of twofold. So we've got the Christmas raffle, which is going to take place during the Rotherham
Christmas
game.
meat raffle.
I love a meat raffle. love a meat raffle. Which top prize of a car, which is quite good. I'm just hoping, right? Because apparently what happens is as you arrive and they scan your season ticket and everything, then they give you your raffle ticket on the turnstile. Now, is this like one of those like really horrible raffles where if you're not there when they call out the number, they just throw it away and they pick out the next one?
Just redraw it.
Because I am known to favour having a beer at half time than staying in the stand. So
well, I'll tell you what,
am I going to miss out on a
ticket.
car?
You give me your ticket and I'll look after it.
Right, and if
and
it wins the car,
you'll give yours. I'll give you my ticket. Yeah, and say I won the car. Yeah, fair enough, isn't it? That,
All right, okay. Well, we'll negotiate this later.
But what you got to think about, right, is when you go to, I don't know, let's take Sunday football and you're watching your kids play or whatever, and they come round with the bottle of wine or the chocolates and the raffle book. How the hell are they going to? Can you imagine the turnstile operators trying to tear the tickets out of these little books? It'll take forever to get in.
Is it going to be one of those as well? Because sometimes they ask for your name to write on the back of the other ticket in the book.
And a telephone number, yeah. It's a logistical nightmare, isn't it?
We're going to have queues right down Leppings Lane, aren't we? This is going to be a nightmare. And then the other offer is the half-price tickets for Wolves, which is just after. It's on the 2nd of January.
2nd of Jan, yeah.
Which is it's it's a 3 o'clock kickoff, but it's a Monday game, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of crowd we get for that. But people, kind of moan about the fact that we've not done much in the way of offers on ticket prices and stuff so far this season. You can't say much better than half price, can you?
I think when you and I were at the steering group the other week, there was one lady saying, complaining literally about, can you not do anything over the next 3 games for people? And I think they've answered that by doing something, and 20 quid, is what I think when you average it out on our season tickets, that's probably what we pay a game. So to bring it half price, you can't knock it at all. I really don't think. I think 20 quid is more than good value for a game of football at Hillsborough.
Yeah, absolutely, and fair play to the club. We saw. Was it Birmingham that we played on New Year's Day at home last season, or was it Boxing Day? I can't remember, one or the other. And it was a pretty much full house, wasn't it? Even though it was full price then. And those games around Christmas and New Year, if you get a full stadium, you just get such a good atmosphere because everyone's in a good mood that time of year, aren't they?
For 30,000 in that day. So so it'll be a really good atmosphere, and if the players can't I kind of stand up and be answered with that kind of many people there and enjoy it, and they don't deserve to be playing for us. But it'll be a good day, and I'm sure we'll have a few glasses of pop beforehand as well. So that'll help, and I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a big crowd, and it means we can talk about Wolves at home, not Wolves away.
Wolves at home is not a thing. It's not a thing. There's no T-shirt for that. There's no T-shirt for that.
It's funny you should say about T-shirts. I actually got my T-shirt this week. So my Where Are They Now T-shirt. And I'd like to run down all the players on it, but it's upstairs and I can't remember who's on it. However, I put it on at the weekend, as you know. And one of the names that's on there is a guy called Mark Platts. It's a grumpy old thing. Everybody who's old enough will remember it. And a friend of mine went, "You don't know where Mark Platts is?" I'm like, "No." He says, "You stand on touchline every Sunday with your kids with his brother." And I had no idea whatsoever. So I stand with Mark Platts' brother every Sunday watching my kids play. So there we go. So I actually found one of my Where Are They Nows?
Well, I mean, it's taken nearly 6 months, but you've actually done it. You've managed it. This is a legendary moment.
I found his brother and spoke to him, so that's good enough for me.
I wish I'd got my little bell to ring to kind of announce this moment.
And at that point, you'll never hear about Where Are They Now ever again.
Do you know what? I somehow doubt that. I reckon it might just make a re-emergence somewhere along the line.
Might do a special episode for the Christmas podcast.
While we're on the subject of tickets, there, and obviously the half price tickets for the Wolves game, around the same kind of time as when the half season tickets were announced. And I mean, I'm not sure there's a great deal to say about it, other than the fact that the prices are kind of what you'd expect to be. You're obviously going to be making a saving on paying on the gate and doing it on a match by match basis, but good to see them out there, and hopefully we broke the 20,000 season ticket mark already this season. If we can get another 2,000 or 3,000, it's going to mean that we've got a decent crowd every week in, week out, haven't we?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just reading the article now. It's like £24.58 per game on the Cop. It works out at. So it's kind of not bad value for it, and get a few more bums on seats, and it'll just all adds to kind of Mr. Chancery's war chest as well for Jordan Rhodes in January.
Absolutely. So Mr. Chancery has not been the only kind of member of the backroom staff at Hillsborough that's been talking this week, because there was an interview in the Star with our Chief Operating Officer, Joe Palmer, which was quite an interesting one, where he obviously talks a bit about the situation at Wednesday, but I think the main point was more of a general thing about football, and particularly clubs in the Championship and the amount of spending that's going on. Now, Rich, obviously you were with me at the at the steering group meeting. It was the first time that I'd met and seen Joe Palmer talk. I don't know if you're the same as me, but I just got the impression that this is a guy that's really got his head screwed on, that really knows his stuff. You know, he's been around Europe, he's worked at clubs all over the place, and he's got his head screwed on. He's down to earth. He actually talks in sense rather than talking in conundrums all the time. You know, he talks in real life football language, and he's obviously a football fan and a football guy as well.
Yeah.
I think he talks a lot of sense, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, this is the second time I've kind of met, whatever you want to call it, seen him. And the first time he did the steering group, I think he'd only been there a matter of weeks, so he's quite, he's quite a quiet bloke, I think, from having seen him a couple of times. But he was very, very quiet at that time, and obviously a lot of the questions that were being aimed towards him, he didn't necessarily know the answers. But now, 3 months on or whatever it is, he just seems to be very much more switched on. He was answering the questions very kind of rapidly. He kind of got a grasp of literally, it sounded like everything that was happening in that stadium, right down to the tills, to to the state of the pitch or whatever. He could answer all the questions. And I think one of the points he made last time when they asked about bringing the catering in house, he said, well, that's exactly what we did at Shakhtar. So he's got experience of doing that. And when he talked about the kit this time, shall we do that in house? It's obviously something he's done again. So he has got experience of doing these things, which are obviously adding value to the club. Young enough guy that's got some real kind of really putting his all into the job by the scenes. And I think what he said the other day was very true. That it is hard for clubs who don't have parachute payments to compete. And it's exactly what we do. That's happening at Hillsborough at the minute. The only way we can compete is by the fans and the corporate sponsors paying to fund this promotion trip, if that's what it's going to end up being. That's the way it has to be. It's become an unfair playing field, because Villa and Newcastle come down with a potload of cash, and they've got that for 3 years, and we don't have that kind of money. We just don't have. I think Mr. Chansiri mentioned last time about a 65 grand player. I think he said that they just couldn't they passed over on in the summer 65 grand a week, because it's just something, it's not sustainable for us, so I can actually see where Joe Palmer's coming from when he talks about the that private fans will have to pay for it, for you to see successful teams.
Do you think, reading his interview, I thought that there were some things that he phrased quite cleverly, because when he talked about how prices in the Championship are going to have to go up to match the amount of money that clubs are going to have to spend to compete, it was quite sort of generic, and it wasn't absolutely clear whether he was talking about other clubs having to do what Wednesday have done in terms of ticket prices, or whether he was actually saying, well, our prices are going to have to go up, because it's. You've got to look at our match day ticket prices and think there's not a lot of room that you could put those up any further. In a place like Sheffield in South Yorkshire in the north of England, you can't charge much more than what we do now, can you? Surely.
I think I looked at it and thought, is this him saying prices are going up? And I think I'm right in saying this is his first interview since he came to the club with the press. And this is maybe him stamping his authority across it, that this is what's happened, this is what we're doing, but it's going to have to happen everywhere. And I kind of tend to think he's not telling us we're going to get another, we're going to end up having a 60 quid ticket instead of a 50 quid ticket. But I think he's just kind of maybe he's kind of sowing a seed. I don't know. I'm not sure how to take it.
You did allude when you were talking a minute ago to the real big news of the last 7 days for any Sheffield Wednesday fan that was at the game on Saturday, that either before the game or at half-time went to get a beer or a soft drink or a pie or a sausage roll or whatever it was.
E-pass.
Because we have our new... and they're fancy tills, aren't they? They're like floating screens. Like these are posh.
Damn sexy as tills go.
They were amazing. Now, I go to the kind of the outside bar downstairs at the Leppings Lane end of the north stand, where forever and a year there's been two lovely old dears
I know one of them as well, but
that serve on that bar, who are lovely. I mean, they really are. And for many years it has been a running joke about them getting the notepad and the calculator. And then the running joke on Saturday when we were walking to the ground was, are they going to have been trained on how to use one of these fancy tills? Because they're not going to be able to do that. And we got there, and 15-20 minutes before kickoff, no queue at all to get to the bar. It still took them a bit of time to pour the beer, but my God, actually the paying for it bit with the contactless payment as well. That was I've never done anything like it at Hillsborough. It was lightning fast. It was amazing.
They got contactless sorted as well.
Yeah, the contactless works seamlessly.
Amazing. Oh, fantastic! I didn't use. I always go for a beer before the game. Don't necessarily have one in the ground. And it's always the kids at half time. Like, Dad, could have a chocolate bar, could have a pie. So I just give them money and send them down these days. So I don't have to get off my fat arse, to be blunt. So yes, I didn't experience it, but I might have to just go and buy a bag of munchies or something like that the next game just to experience that.
It's worth it just for the experience of it happening, and you actually managing to to get served in seconds. It was phenomenal. we at half time we got a beer, paid for it, and drank it before the second half had kicked off. And I'm not sure that that's happened at all at Hillsborough, probably in the last, I can't even remember. I can't remember the last time that happened.
You know what that means, though, don't you? You're probably going to have 2 beers at half time now.
Yeah, if you insist,
Yeah,
I think I can manage that. So what else has been...
I don't know about that, but anyway.
So what else has been happening this week? So yesterday, as we talk now on Thursday evening, yesterday, Wednesday, was what has now become the annual blue and white Christmas Day, which is, as social media has become a big deal, this has become a big deal as well, hasn't it? So absolutely. We had, it was, they made a big deal about how it was going to be the biggest one that they've ever done, and they were out across, various good causes and charities, and visiting kind of community groups and all kinds of kind of what classes like people in need across Sheffield, and following this on social media yesterday. Firstly, it was lovely to see, and secondly, one of those moments where you just feel dead proud of your club, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in Sheffield we've got a real embarrassment's probably not right, but a real, a plethora, embarrassment, riches of charities, and really good charities in Sheffield. Not just the big ones that we all know about, like Western Park and Children's Hospital, etc. But there's Bluebell Wood, there's Cavendish Cancer Care, there's so many charities, and the fact that the club, kind of made time for some of the, I think the Sheffield Royal Society for the Blind they went to see. I think they went to Bluebell Wood, they went to Children's Hospital, and there was a couple of others I can't remember off the top. But, they really did the part by getting out there and doing all these kind of charity. Instead of just a typical, it used to be just a Children's Hospital and that was it. But the fact that they got all around the kind of, not even just, around the region almost, rather than just Sheffield, going out to Bluebell Wood out near Worksop Way, etc. So, yeah, it really kind of just warmed your heart, and... I spent some time with one of the charities on Monday night as well through, so I sponsored a star or a snowflake on the Children's Hospital, and I spent some time there as well. So just to see it from that hand, and then from actually to go and do it, kind of really does warm your kind of soul to, that they're trying to make a difference and trying to make those kids' lives, who some of those kids are going to have to spend Christmas Day, in Children's Hospital in particular, they're going to have to spend, or in Bluebell Wood even, spend Christmas Day in hospital or in that home. So that's kind of, if they can make a little bit, make them smile. And some of the pictures I've seen, some of the pictures of Fessy with some of the kids laughing and whatever, and some of the other people, it just if it makes their lives that little bit better, then it's job done.
Yeah, I mean, as you always get with these things, there's been a few kind of naysayers on social media saying, oh, they only do it because they're contractually obliged to do it, and we only do it because it makes us look good. Well, they don't have to do it to anything like the extent that they did this week. As you said before, in the past, it's been one one place, and that's it. And this was, it was a full day, wasn't it? And they really did try and get across as many places as they could and do as much good as they could. And I tell you what, as well, it proved Irby Emanuelson is a real person. He exists. I've seen photos of him. Yeah.
No.
People have met him and talked to him and everything.
Next, you'll be telling Mello was on the pictures too.
Well, do you know what?
No.
Yeah. Who else as well? Because it was like it's like some kind of like school reunion or something. There was Samido was on one of them, and I think Sergio Bush as well, who I honestly thought that he'd gone. I really did.
Yeah, sorry, I thought he was on loan somewhere. Anyway,
evidently not. So yeah, I think big well done to the club for doing that, and dead nice to follow that on social media this week. Other Wednesday news. So what else has happened this week? Oh, Monday it was the FA Cup third round draw, which. Although, I would say I'm not bothered about cup competitions. They don't really interest me. You can't get away from the fact that when it actually gets to whatever it was, 7:15 on Monday evening, and my mate texted me said, "Are you watching it?" And I thought, "Oh, I'll stick it on." That you can't help but get excited, can you? Because you think, we could get anyone. We could get, Manchester United, Liverpool, maybe even Sheffield. Oh, no. My bad. And you think, maybe Eastleigh or Barrow, a good non-league team, something like that.
Eastleigh would have been absolutely fantastic. I sat and watched on Sunday afternoon. Me and the kids watched FA Cup Score or whatever it is on BBC. Showing all the goals coming in, and just to see Eastleigh, we were like, the kids were getting really giddy because they're kind of all up for they want to come and see Reader play. Either down that way or up here, but whether that happens or not, we'll see. Obviously they're not through. They were in the draw, but they're not definitely through to the third round. But yeah, and do you know what the better thing for me was? Just to slide it in there when I actually realised who scored the first goal for Bolton as well.
He does love scoring against them, doesn't he?
He does. But yes, but I digress. But yeah, I completely missed the draw because I was out. And remembered about it about 9 o'clock, and had a look and looked at Middlesbrough, and I was a bit.
I was completely. Yeah. As soon as Middlesbrough came out as the home team as well, I just thought, oh no, not Middlesbrough. And then obviously we came out, and you just think, what a really uninspiring.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
I wouldn't have minded an away Premier League team, but how many times have we been to Middlesbrough in the last 4 or 5 seasons? We've been there loads, and they always beat us as well, don't they? And it's such an uninspiring draw.
Yeah, for me, you want either that kind of draw that at home that's achievable, like I don't know, some League One club or League Two that you're pretty much guaranteed. Not guaranteed because it's a cup, but you probably like to get to the next round, the 4th round, or just get somebody big at Hillsborough. Yeah. And, if you're going to go out in front of 35,000 or whatever. But, yeah, Middlesbrough.
Here's a question. Where would you find all of the following in one place? Chairs, tables, beer, Vic, James, more beer, Dick Yow, Eddie, more beer, and the rest of the Wednesday week gang. That's right, it's the Riverside Cafe's new outside bar. All of your favourite lagers, ciders, soft drinks and hand pump ales are now available outside. Come and see the gang and give it a try. The Riverside Cafe's new outside bar, now open on match days.
Right, bit of a moan time here, because the Middlesbrough game has been moved to a Sunday for reasons I'm not entirely sure why. So that's another game in January. We've got obviously Brighton, which has been moved to a Friday night. Now we've got Middlesbrough, which has been moved to a Sunday. I think we've got, is it like 1 game or 2 games in January that are actual Saturday 3 o'clock kickoffs?
But this is just like the Premier League, isn't it? This is what they do all the time there. It's not guaranteed. Yeah. You don't play any games on Saturday anymore. It's Friday nights or Sunday afternoons or Sunday lunchtimes or whatever. It's
absolutely. Yeah, and lo and behold, the Sky fixtures come out, and in February, 2 weekends in a row now where we've got Friday night games. So the Wigan away game, that's been moved to Friday night, and then the following week, Birmingham at home, and that gets moved to a Friday night. And it reminded me, and I'm going to hark back again to the steering group meeting, and it was a throwaway comment by Alistair, the ticket office manager, but it kind of hit home with me, where he said that between now and the end of the season, we've got something like 5 home games that are Saturday 3 o'clock kickoffs. Well, now there's one less because one of them's being moved to a Friday. So that would, if I remember correctly what he said, I think that's something like 4 games now between now and the end of the season at home that are going to be Saturday 3 o'clock kickoffs. Don't quote me, that's probably wrong, but it's not many games.
I suppose what it means with a Friday night kickoff is at least we'll be able to go for a drink with you afterwards instead of you just being a complete and utter dribbling mess.
Well, I mean, that sounds like a challenge. I'm up for that. At least I've got 2 days to recover from the hangover as well, so we can certainly go for it. But yeah, I mean, did you read this thing that a QPR fan published? This open letter to Sky that a QPR fan did this week, which has been knocking around on doing the rounds on Twitter and stuff. Which it was a very long letter, and I'll give you the gist of it. It was a very reasoned argument about why, even though Sky are absolutely integral to football, and actually, we all enjoy sitting down and watching a game on Sky, there is no getting away from the fact that right now Sky are kind of ruining the game, aren't they? They're spoiling it for us as fans. As much as I was quite looking forward to a trip to Wigan on a Saturday to watch some football, suddenly the prospects of going on a Friday night, having to rush home from work, and inevitably trains, not going to be able to get a train back, so it becomes we've got to go in the car, we've got to draw short straws to decide. Well, Mark will drive, but that's a different matter. It just takes all the fun of it out of going to away games, and it's rubbish.
They're not bothered about this, are they? They don't. I think somebody put the point that Sky would rather have you sat in your living room than in a football ground. That's what they want.
It's such a shame, isn't it? And we talked a few weeks ago about the Brighton game being moved to Friday night, and I get the fact that they want to move that for Sky. I get the fact that people want to watch it. It was, we had 2 or 3 fantastic games against Brighton last season, 2 fantastic playoff games against them, which had got everything. Of course, out of all the games in the Championship that weekend, that's one they're going to look at and say, yeah, we want to televise this. But what's wrong with 5:30 on Saturday? What's wrong with doing it Sunday lunchtime? Why does that need to be one that's Friday? That means that any Wednesday fan that wants to go to that game has got to book a day off work. They've just got to. I
don't get the Friday night kickoffs at all. It really doesn't. It just don't work for me for whatever reason. I mean, I know if you go somewhere like Tranmere, I think Tranmere used to play all their home games on a Friday night because Liverpool or Everton being at home. I think that's how they used to do it. So they kind of, I guess they get used to it. But yeah, it does. Yeah, football is Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock.
Absolutely. And I've put up this argument a few times this season when, maybe when we've lost or something like that, and I've outed myself as a member of the Happy Clapper Brigade, and sometimes people say to me, right, are you going to put a positive spin on that? When we lost at home to Leeds, when we lost at home to Ipswich, people said, what's your positive spin on that? And I said, well, at least if we're not going to go up this season, we get another season in the Championship with 3 o'clock Saturday kickoffs and not being moved left, right and centre for bloody Sky. Well, that goes out the window now, doesn't it? Because I think we've been moved just about as much as a Premier League team is at the moment, and they've
proper fucked around with the fixtures in January.
It's a bit of a bummer, isn't it? I don't like it. Anyway, rant over. That's our grumpy old owls.
Have you got that off your chest now? You feel much better now.
Feel a bit better about that.
That's better.
So other news that's been knocking around this week actually does. I mean, this could go under the category of grumpy old owls, because it's a former Wednesday player who's been in the news a bit, and this is Carson Palmer, who I only kind of half read this, but I think I'm right in thinking that he had kind of like a minor heart attack.
I've not read it all. All I read was that he had a 5-hour heart operation, I believe.
Yeah, it's something.
He was okay.
And it sounded like, listening to or reading his tweets about it, which I've got to be honest, you kind of need a bit of an interpreter, don't you, to try and figure out Carson Palmer's tweets, because he's not the best when it comes to punctuation. Fair enough, Carlton, we love him, but being able to piecing them together, that he kind of said, obviously, because he's a former footballer, and he's carried on in terms of keeping himself in shape. If that had happened to someone else, he was told there was a fair chance that they wouldn't have come through it, that they'd be lying on a slab now. So a bit of a scare for him. It's obviously going to take him a bit of time to get back to normal. I think it goes without saying that on behalf of all the Wednesday week and every Sheffield Wednesday fan, that we wish Carlton all the very best and a speedy recovery.
Absolutely. And keep smoking the marijuana. It's good for apparently recuperation, I believe.
Absolutely.
Not that I'm speaking from experience. I'm just
I'm keeping quiet at this point. I'm not getting involved in this in this conversation. I've got a professional reputation to think about. Right, okay. Other news this week then, and this is a bit of news about us, and in a way it's kind of slightly sad news, but with a positive end to it, which is that due to some circumstances beyond our control, we have or we are about to refund everyone that's bought a ticket to our Christmas do. So we're doing this Christmas do with the Cop End, which is after the Rotherham game, in the Riverside Cafe. And I know a few people have been online. They've bought tickets from our online seller, and I know we were in the Riverside Cafe on Saturday dishing out flyers, and I think a few people actually bought tickets in person. As I say, it's kind of circumstances beyond our control that we're not able to go ahead with it in the format that we originally were going to do, which was kind of, we're going to have karaoke and we're going to have special guests and we're going to have a DJ and all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately,
I hate karaoke. I'm sorry.
I'm not a fan. It means that there's a fair chance that it's an occasion where you may have seen me and Dom Housen in the same room, which has unfortunately been dashed. Yes. I apologise in advance for that. But the good news is that the party will still go on. So instead of being something that we're charging tickets for and having kind of like a guy on the door that's checking them, it is now effectively a free-for-all. There is no entrance fee. It is no longer something that we're doing as a ticketed event, but the Riverside Cafe will still be open. It will still be a Christmas party. There won't be a DJ. There won't be karaoke. You might think that's a good thing. There won't be all the cheesy stuff that you sometimes get at parties, but there will be beer, and there will be good times had by all, and there will be some music somehow, and the Christmas party will still go ahead, just in a different format. So if you've bought a ticket to the Christmas do, it will be refunded to your PayPal account or however it was that you paid for it, and if you bought a ticket in person from the Riverside Cafe on Saturday, please bring that back to us, and we will sort out a refund for that. And our apologies for the fact that it can't go ahead in its current format, but as I say, it's out of our control. There's nothing that we can really do about that. But we've said, we promised you a party, and we'll damn well have one. And if nothing else, I'll get drunk and I'll climb on a table and sing some songs for you. Yeah, you can't say fairer than that.
Well, I think I'm busy that night, to be honest.
Have you
yeah. I'll look forward to my refund. Yeah.
Have you ever heard me sing? I might have the voice of an angel, for all you know.
That's very true, but is there a reason we've not heard you sing before?
Probably, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
It's been known, when I've had a few drinks, I can belt out a tune. I'm not going to say very well, but I can give it a go. So, if there is demand, then
you'll be pushing Mariah Carey with those Christmas songs, will you?
Oh, I do a mean Mariah Carey. I'll bring my feather boa, and we'll recreate that music video. So I reckon that's just about it in terms of Wednesday news this week.
Well, I've got a couple of little things this week. There's a couple of just to bring grumpy old owls into it again. A couple of kind of legends have had the birthdays this week.
All right.
So yesterday was David Hurst's birthday.
Wow.
And I think quite rightly, with nobody can argue him being called a legend, even though it's quite a loosely used term sometimes. But Hursty obviously is a Wednesday legend, and I'm not sure how old he is, but it was his birthday yesterday, so happy birthday to Hursty.
And he's back on Twitter as well, isn't he?
Yes, at Hurst D9, I think he is.
Something like
he's not,
that.
He's not tweeted at all, but he's on there.
I think he's actually got about. He's one of these people that's got about 3 different Twitter pages, none of which have actually ever tweeted anything.
Correct.
I'm guessing
That's
it just reminds us David Hirst is human like us, because obviously at some point he set up a Twitter page and then 6 months later he's forgot the password, so he's had to set up another one.
Yeah, I just think he's obviously a bit of a tweetophobe, if that's a word. I'm just trying to look now, see if he's actually. I'll put the wrong one in. No, I don't know. He certainly hadn't tweeted a couple of days ago. So, but nonetheless, we sent him our wishes, and we sent him our wishes on Twitter the other day. And then the other one whose birthday is, I think it was today. I think it was his birthday. It was I would call a legend, and some of the younger fans will have no idea what we're on about. But it's Mick Lyon's birthday. Now Mick came from Everton to Hillsborough in the early '80s and was an absolute stalwart of a centre half. And I started going. My first season ticket was 1983-84, and he was kind of our captain, centre half, big solid centre half, the kind of player who'd run through walls for you. And I remember us getting drawn against Liverpool that year, and obviously Mick Lyon's a big Evertonian, playing against the kind of the other side for him. And I think we went 2-0 up that game and ended up drawing 2-2, and then going back to Anfield and losing 3-0, where we sang "We'll Be Back." But literally early in the game at Hillsborough, Mick Lyon's got a gash on his leg. And to actually stitch his leg up, they stitched his sock to his leg so he could get back on the pitch.
Ow.
So
wow.
It was a days of one sub. I think it was one sub you could have. But literally he wasn't missing that game. So they literally stitched his sock to his leg, and he played on, and we drew 2-2 against Liverpool, which at that time were, all sorts of champions of everywhere, but which not like they are now, but So and I had the pleasure of actually meeting Mick Lyons at the 83-84 reunion a couple of years ago, I think. And he was just, of all the players I wanted my picture with, very much like the 91 reunion. It was just Roland Nielsen I wanted a picture with, no one else. Mick Lyons was the guy I wanted a picture with, and I got a picture with him. And he come all the way from Australia, because that's where he lives now. And I got a picture with Mick Lyons, so I was a happy chappy that day. So happy birthday to Mick today.
Yeah, happy birthday. That story about the stitches, I can't quite get my head around that. Can you imagine a footballer nowadays doing that? Yeah. I mean, maybe someone like, Hutch maybe would just say, yeah, just sew it on, it doesn't matter. But yeah, most footballers now wouldn't entertain something like that. Wow,
no, not at all.
That's how football has changed, isn't it?
Yeah, they were 3 weeks out injured.
Absolutely. Right then, so coming up, we have a pretty busy week all in all in terms of Championship football. So let's talk about Saturday first. Now, I've been trying to get my head around just how important a day Saturday is, or how important a weekend it is probably a more accurate phrase, thanks to Sky, in terms of the top 6 in the Championship, because all the top 6 play each other. So we've got.
Have you been looking at the league table?
I've been looking at the league table. Yeah, it's Christmas.
It's not Christmas yet.
Look,
James.
When you hear Mariah Carey on the radio, it's bloody well Christmas.
It's time to switch the freaking thing off.
I work on the radio. I've got no choice. Right, so we've got Friday night. We've got Brighton at home to Leeds. That should be a good game. And then on Saturday, obviously we are at Reading, so that's 3rd against 6th. And it's also Newcastle, who obviously are top of the table, against Birmingham, who I think are Birmingham in 5th. Yeah, Birmingham are in 5th. So let's just play a little bit of a prediction league here. So let's go on the basis that Newcastle are going to beat Birmingham, and let's go on the assumption that Brighton are going to beat Leeds. So the top 2 will win, which would mean, and it's still early days, but if we win at Reading on Saturday, we will be 3rd in the Championship by tea time on Saturday evening, and that's not out of the realm of possibility.
That's not a bad place to be just before Christmas, is it? After all the people complaining and whinging about how crap we've been, and then we're 6th now and potentially could be 3rd by the end of the weekend.
Some fans will still tell you that this season's been a disaster. And,
absolutely.
If a disaster results in us being 3rd in the league going into a home game against Barnsley followed by a home game against Rotherham, I will take that disaster because I don't think that's too bad at all. I really don't.
Much like you, James, I'm always front of the queue for a pie, and I'm a happy clapper, so I'm all right with that.
Yep. Right, so anyway, we kind of say all this as if us winning at Reading is a foregone conclusion. Far from it. So they lost last weekend, which is I think they'd won something like 5 in a row before then. But they did lose. Could be the start of the Reading wobble, but they've looked pretty good under Yapstam, particularly at home. Their home form has been, up until the weekend gone, has been really good, and going to be a tough test.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I'm very much an advocate of what you do. I don't look at the league table, and I actually looked at it this week, and then I was surprised that Leeds were above us, which was quite surprising, But I've just I live for what Wednesday do, and I think Reading's always a tough fixture. I think we've had mixed fortunes. We've gone there and won at some point, and other times I think it was a few years ago we were getting 6 and 7 against us.
Yeah.
And I think when they just come down from the Premier League or on the way up or whatever. So yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag we get there. It's not like we guaranteed to win there, or it should be a really good game.
You would hope so, wouldn't you? It should be a real good advert for Championship football. So Forestieri, obviously, as we know, out for 3 games. Who would you bring into the fold? What would you do team-wise? Carlos today in his pre-match did his usual kind of thing where he played a bit of mind games with the opposition, where he hinted at the fact that he might change things to a 4-3-3, but he hinted that he might make some changes before the Preston game, and then played exactly the same team. So whether or not this is just designed to throw a spanner in the in the works for Reading's kind of pre-match prep or not,
bit of mind games, bit of kidology, all that kind of stuff. But I think Fletch will come in. To be honest, I think it'll just be a straight replacement. And I think the way we're playing at the minute anyway, it pretty much is a 3 at the back with Hutchinson sitting deep, isn't it? Yeah. And that's where you get Reach pushing forward. But yeah, I think Fletcher will come in. Probably see Abdi on the bench, perhaps.
Yeah.
Definitely Atty as well after his hat trick. He's probably deserved a place on the bench. So yeah, I think it'll be Fletcher in for him. And other than that, I don't think there'll be too wholesaler changes, as I once thought.
Yeah, I mean, it would seem after winning 2 games, playing the formula that we've played, it'd seem daft to make unnecessary changes. We've got to make at least one, haven't we? But other than that, you would want to kind of stick with the same sort of recipe, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think obviously it remains to be seen whether why am I forgetting his name? Wallace is going to be fit. That's we'll wait and see on that. We're not ripping up trees at the minute, but it seems to be working. It's working. That we're grinding results out, and that's all we need to do. We grind those results out, get 3 points every week, and if we along the way we end up getting promoted and we've not played that great, you take it. So yeah, I mean, I think results wise, I'll be happy with a draw from there. I know Lord H should kill me for that, but I'll be happy with a draw from down there.
Then obviously Tuesday night, and it feels like it's been ages since we've had a midweek game. Tuesday night we've got
Dingles.
The big South Yorkshire derby, as we've been bigging it up on the radio. Barnsley come to town. This for me obviously is I was born in Barnsley. I'm originally a Barnsley lad, lived there for many years of my life. Being a Wednesday fan growing up in Barnsley, not a great deal of fun. So this is always a big game for me. I do like to get one up on Barnsley.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just a small town in Sheffield, isn't it? At the end of the day?
Of course it is. That's why I live here now. This again, quite an interesting one, because they've gone through a period of really shocking form where they've not won in something like 10, but then did beat Birmingham, and not only did they beat Birmingham, they walloped Birmingham 3-0 on Saturday. So there could just be a chance that their noses are up a little bit and they're hitting a bit of form. Is this one of those games where it's going to be a bit of a scrappy one because it's a bit of a local derby? Do we care how that game unfolds? We just need the win.
I think it's a home banker. I think we'll just we've had Barnsley had this probably 15 years ago. They had this where like exactly like Rotherham used to do. Come to Hillsborough, you get a 94th minute winner and run off with it. And Barnsley did that a bit, but they've not come to Hillsborough in a long time, I don't think, and got anything from us. Maybe a point at maximum, but I just think we just it's 3 points all day long.
I think I'm in the same boat as you in the sense that I'm not going to Reading saying we should be playing for a draw, but if come tea time on Friday we have drawn that game, I don't think I'd be particularly disappointed. 4 points from this
next two
games
this
week, and if we obviously we'll talk more about it in depth next week. But if we look just slightly further ahead from that and we look at the game with Rotherham then on the following Saturday. 7 points inside a week, that puts us seriously in contention, doesn't it? We're right up there.
Yeah. I mean, I still think, and Vic will hate this because of how they book the holidays. I think we're going to have to go. It's going to have to be through the playoffs. I don't think we're going to catch the definitely not catch Newcastle, without a doubt. And Brighton remains to be seen. But I think we're on for a playoff adventure again. But yeah, all we can do is just keep winning, just keep going, and then it'll take care of itself.
I was in my local on Saturday evening with my mate John that I go to the games with, and granted this was after copious amounts of Belgian blue, and it did turn into a bit of a rant from me where I said, what reason Newcastle have lost 2 in a row now, and all right, you can argue that they've been a tad unlucky with the players being sent off and whatever. Brighton only got a draw at the weekend. Either one of those teams could have a serious wobble. We've seen it before with teams that look like they're going to run away with it, and they have that wobble as you go into Christmas and over the Christmas period. I know I kind of like try and be sensible about it, like you are being, and saying those two look head and shoulders better than everyone else. But there's that chance if one of them does slip up a little bit more over Christmas. Someone's got to be there ready to take advantage of it.
Everybody,
why not us? With the fixtures we've got, why not us?
Everybody has a dodgy run. Newcastle had one early doors and have probably got over that, and I think they'll I don't think they'll have a problem. Brighton, they've not yet to have a bad spell. I think. I think they'll there is. I mean, Huddersfield was a classic example. They were running away with it, and we. I remember saying, "Do you think Huddersfield will be at the top of the league at the end of the season?" And the answer was no. Where are they now? 7th, 8th, 9th, wherever they are. They've kind of plummeted from there. So it's Newcastle I think are running away with it. But yeah, it's all to play for. It's seconds to play for, I think. But I still think Brighton might just be too good.
All right, we'll see. It's going to be an interesting 2-3 weeks in the Championship, isn't it? And come the start of January, it will be interesting to see what the situation is. Right, a couple of bits from me. You know what? I made a mistake earlier. I said that the big news of the week was the Tills at Hillsborough on Saturday. That's not true. That's not the big news of the week. Because, and I think we need like a bit of a drum roll for this, because beach towels are back in stock in the club shop.
Back in stock.
Harping back to the steering group meeting, someone actually asked a question about this. Someone actually raised the question of beach towels, and they said we will be getting some back in stock. It is November. I'm not sure we really need them, but they are back in stock. So
I just thought Alistair's answer to that question was, why would you need beach towels in November? Anyone would have actually sold out of them.
Yeah.
And that was just that was a big a metaphorical 2 fingers up. So that was quite funny. So yeah, I'm sure they'll sell out by for Christmas.
Probably will. Christmas jumpers are in stock as well in the club shop, which are I think they're 30 quid a piece this year, which I'm sure is more than last year.
Bloody hell.
So if you want a jumper with a snowman on that
you can wear once,
a Wednesday badge sewn on, then get yourself to the club shop because they are now in stock.
This is my thing. Christmas jumpers. What a waste of time. You only wear it once. That's it. Done.
True.
Bar humbug.
I've got a work colleague who is a walking advent calendar. He is wearing a different Christmas jumper for every day through December. He's got 20 odd of them.
Actually spent money on it, so probably between 200 and 400 quid on jumpers that you can only wear once. What a waste.
Oh, I think it's cool. I might do it myself next year. I might buy
karaoke and Christmas jumpers. There's nothing worse.
Look, unless it's Mariah Carey, and then it's fine. The other big news as well at Hillsborough this week is that the vomitory work is complete. Is it? No, we decided it's not vomitory, is it? That's actually another word for vomitorium. So the vomitoriums, whatever they may be, and we still don't really know, they are now complete and the North Stand is done. I thought this was really strange because I was sure when they announced this that they said it's going to be, you know, the no tickets in the North Stand for the foreseeable future, and then it was done like within a week.
Was it Trev trying to look for some news one day? We've got to get an article every day on the website. Yeah. What we're going to talk about today, and let's put some random word in it.
Yeah, vomitorium. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah,
well done, guys.
Well done, Trev.
That's good. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that brings us to pretty much for a close for this week. So, Rich, you know, as if anyone has maybe not had enough of us two rambling, and they want to see a bit more of your your kind of Twitter nonsense, where can they track you down?
They can never go on my Twitter poll tonight, which was stick or twist after 6 months was the question. But if you want to answer that, you can just go on to @DickieOwl and comment on it.
Oh, right. I'll go and do that now.
If
you want to catch me on Twitter, I am @JamesMarriott. Or if you want to contact the podcast, follow us @TWWcast and get in touch with us, all the usual means and all the usual methods. Hopefully we'll have a few more of us by this point next week.
Yeah, when it can all be asked.
Yeah, you know, and finish doing whatever nonsense it is that they're up to this week.
Shit like that.
Yeah. Priorities. Yeah. Thank you for bearing with us and our general grumpiness and ramblings this week, and we will see you next week.
See you real soon.
There's a chance here.